I watched them all the time. I think I watched Indiana State and Iowa. Caitlin Clark play about the same last year, so I watched a lot of basketball.
Five-time NBA champ Magic Johnson practically begged Caitlin Clark to seek some advice from Larry Legend.
And I think that he could give her great advice on how to handle this situation because he went through it himself.
And it's the refs, it's the commissioner of the league, it's some of the team owners. They are so stupid and so bad at their jobs in understanding what they have in Caitlin Clark, who is the face of the league.
Larry Bird may have just taken a bold step that the rest of the WNBA hasn't, publicly showing unwavering support for Caitlin Clark in a way that turns heads. And no, we're not talking about a simple endorsement or a few kind words. We're talking about something much bigger, something that almost sounds like an open invitation for her to lead a team of her own. While no official offer has been confirmed, the message behind Bird's recent comments is loud and clear. He believes Caitlin deserves more protection, more respect, more leadership, and frankly, more than what the league has been giving her. As frustrations build over how Clark has been treated on the court, Bird's statements feel like a direct response to what many fans are already thinking, that the WNBA hasn't done nearly enough to support one of its brightest young stars.
Magic offered her some advice. He advised her to seek some advice from Indiana's own Larry Legend. Now, Larry Bird's easily regarded as one of the best NBA legends ever, so seeking advice from him wouldn't be a bad idea. Because just like Bird, Caitlin was not welcome to the big league with open arms.
Boom. More importantly, the league, the refs, you're going to let people take cheap shots like that over and over and over at the face of your league, the future of the league, the most important player in your...
Is there an official contract on the table or a press release in circulation? Probably not, at least not yet. But if Larry Bird has a game-changing vision quietly tucked away somewhere in French Lick, no one would be surprised. And honestly, a bold move like that might be exactly what's needed right now. Because after witnessing Caitlin Clark take a hard, unexpected hit from Marina Mabrey, especially while she was still recovering from an earlier eye injury, it's becoming harder to ignore the growing concern around how the league is handling its most high-profile player.
Marina Mabrey, who, if you don't know who that is, I've been watching the NBA for like, 2 years now? She's been on 32 different teams in 2 years. She cries, whines, leaves one team, goes to another, demands trade, shoots threes. She's an irrelevant journeyman. She runs up to Caitlin after the whistle, slams into her, knocks her down. Obvious ejection. An obvious ejection. Marina Mabrey, look in the mirror. The reason that you're going to have any money before the end of your career is number 2-2. Nobody even knew who you were or cared about you till she got in the league. So cheap shot her like that. What are you, dumb?
It seems Larry Bird has finally reached his limit. The same legend who battled through the toughest NBA eras without backing down now looks genuinely frustrated watching what's happening to Caitlin Clark. And instead of calling for another league meeting or waiting on policy changes, Bird's response feels much more direct. He's acting like a man ready to take matters into his own hands, like he's prepared to build something new around Clark from the ground up. If the current system won't offer her the support she deserves, then maybe it's time to create a space where the focus is on basketball, not unnecessary roughness before tip-off.
I believe it's this entire class of WNBA draftees led by Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, call Larry Bird, ask him for advice.
Oh, I mean,
Indiana, he's already there.
You don't deserve this, Caitlin Clark. Please go play basketball somewhere else and let this league crumble, man. This is just ridiculous.
Sure, right now it's all just talk, but when someone like Larry Bird starts speaking out, naming names, calling out the league's direction, and hinting at creating a new team just to protect Caitlin Clark, you know people are going to pay attention. It may sound like a long shot at first, but the more you think about it, the more it starts to feel like a smart business move. A team built around one of the most talked about athletes in the sport? That's not a rumor, that's strategy. And if this possible pivot by Bird has you intrigued, be sure to hit that subscribe button and let us know in the comments if you think it could actually happen. Because one thing's for sure, if the league doesn't figure it out soon, it might lose its biggest star to someone ready to build something better.
Ratings go down 50% when she's not there. Ratings rocket through the roof when she is. Everybody has to watch these box office. If the refs are going to let people have open season on Caitlin, bump her, knock her down, throw her down, cheap shot her, it's time for the fever to wake up like Sophie Cunningham did, say, enough is enough. You're going to do that. You hit us with the feather. We're going to hit you with the crowbar right now. brain. That's what we got to do.
If Larry Bird is seriously considering making moves behind the scenes, we hope major brands like Nike are paying close attention, because someone is going to build around Caitlin Clark, and at the rate things are going, it might not be the WNBA. Right now, it seems like Larry Bird is showing more support and long-term vision for Clark than the very league she represents, and that says a lot. While some officials remain quiet and wait for the headlines to fade, Bird sounds ready to take action, crafting a plan, investing resources, and even stepping in to help guide her to greatness. Whether it's here or overseas, one thing is clear: Caitlin Clark's potential won't go unnoticed for long.
Caitlin Clark, please leave this league and let it crumble. Please, this league does not deserve you. All this hate from these black people, all this hate from these lesbians, these people in the media, just go play basketball somewhere else. Your fans will follow you. We will follow you wherever you go.
If the WNBA won't take the lead in building around Caitlin Clark, maybe Larry Bird will. In just one interview, he's shown more public support than some of her teammates have on the court all season. Let's call it what it is. Bird isn't just casually tuning in, he's studying every move, reading between the lines, and likely already thinking about partnerships, arenas, and long-term plans. This is the same Larry Bird known for his fierce competitiveness and no-nonsense approach to the game. When a legend like him sees this much potential, it means something big is on the horizon.
What's happening in WNBA is what happened when Magic and Bird went to the NBA.
I said from the very beginning, Caitlin Clark is Larry Bird with she plays that game. She's Michael Jordan in terms of her influence on moving the needle for this league. But her game is Larry Bird. And it's not just the shooting. You watch her for very long, her passing is honestly as magnificent as her shooting. She makes the players around her better.
And now Larry Bird is stepping up in a big way, speaking out for a rookie who's faced more physical challenges than most veterans, yet still leads the league in poise, respect, and national attention. When a legend like Bird gets this vocal, it's clear he sees something truly special. At this point, it wouldn't surprise anyone if he showed up courtside, clipboard in hand, ready to launch a full-on project centered around Caitlin Clark. Forget just being a fan, he's acting like someone prepared to take real action. If Bird had his way, every player who's crossed the line with cheap shots would be traded out and replaced by athletes who respect the game and play it the right way. His support isn't just symbolic, it sounds like the beginning of something bigger.
You were immediately a better player if you were on the court with Larry Bird, because he would figure out what you could do, he could see what you couldn't do, and he would get you in a position to highlight and emphasize what you did well, and he would help you succeed in that.
Larry Bird's support for Caitlin Clark isn't quiet. It's bold, unwavering, and starting to feel like the foundation for something much bigger. But let's rewind to the moment that really sparked this reaction, the controversial shove. When Marina Mabrey made that aggressive move on Clark, it didn't just look excessive, it crossed a line. It wasn't a competitive play, it was the kind of moment that had longtime basketball legends shaking their heads, wondering how the game got here. To many fans and former players, it didn't represent tough defense. It felt more like unnecessary drama overshadowing real sportsmanship.
I've never seen nothing like this before in my life, where a player gets treated this way in sports, man. I've never seen nothing like this ever, man. This is just beyond wow. Like, I'm just beyond my threshold. You don't deserve this, man. You don't deserve it. Straight up. I get the intensity in games and you know, physicality, but this is just too much, man. It's just too much.
Larry Bird didn't hold back. He spoke with the kind of intensity that comes from decades in the game. In his words, what happened to Caitlin Clark wasn't just rough play. It was, in his view, one of the most disappointing displays he's seen on a basketball court in years. Now remember, this is coming from someone who played through injuries, took hits from some of the most physical players in NBA history, and never backed down. He faced the likes of Dennis Rodman and Bill Laimbeer, players known for their aggressive style. And yet, it was this this moment, when Marina Mabrey shoved Clark from behind while she was already dealing with an eye injury, that left Bird more outraged than anything else. What shocked many wasn't just the shove, it was the silence that followed. Fans voiced their frustration online, but the league's response? Practically non-existent. No flagrant call, no fines, no official statement addressing the incident. For a player who has brought more attention and fans to the league than anyone in recent memory, many expected more.
Anybody that does something flagrant to this young lady for what she's brought to the game should be suspended and fined big time.
Clark, we gonna deal with this. Let's say you play till you're 40, you're 23. That's 17 more. We gonna deal with this for 17 more years? Bro, just Caitlin Clark, just leave. Go play basketball somewhere else, man. We will follow you. We will follow you wherever you go. Let this shit crumble to the ground, man.
WNBA basketball, where anything go.
Larry Bird has clearly had enough. In a league where some questionable plays seem to go unchecked, Bird has stepped up as one of Caitlin Clark's loudest supporters. It's not just about one hard foul, it's about a pattern. Clark, a rookie who's helped bring unprecedented attention to the WNBA, has taken more than her share of hits this season, and the response? Barely a whisper from those who should be protecting her. That's likely why Bird has taken such a strong stance. While others have remained quiet, he's been vocal, not just about the incidents on the court, but about the mindset behind them. When Marina Mabrey delivered a blindside shove to Clark while she was already recovering from an eye injury, many expected some form of accountability, but instead of an apology or even an acknowledgement, the response came in the form of frustration, almost as if being criticized for the act was unfair. Bird, a legend who built his career on toughness and skill, was stunned. To him, great players take responsibility. They own their actions, both the highs and the lows. What he saw wasn't just about one player, it was about a growing culture that confuses aggressive play with reckless behavior. In Bird's view, if this kind of response is becoming the norm, then it's no wonder he's thinking about a different path forward. He sees in Caitlin Clark the potential to lead not just a team, but possibly a movement. She's skilled, composed, and impactful on and off the court, and the idea that someone with her ability is spending more time avoiding unnecessary contact than focusing on winning games? Bird sees that as a serious problem for the sport as a whole. What really strikes a nerve for Bird is the lack of action from the league. Fans were outraged, viewers were stunned, but the official response? Practically silence. No clear penalties, no strong statements, nothing to suggest that this kind of play is unacceptable, especially when it involves the league's most visible star. And that's where Bird draws the line. He's not just showing support, he's offering a vision, one where talent is respected, safety is prioritized, and the future of women's basketball is protected. If no one else is willing to step up, Bird's message is clear. Maybe it's time someone did, because for Larry Bird, Caitlin Clark isn't just another promising player. She's the kind of generational talent who could shape the future of the game, and he refuses to stand by while that potential is put at risk. The WNBA's response to recent incidents involving Caitlin Clark has left many fans, and now even legends like Larry Bird, completely stunned. After multiple physical plays directed at Clark, the league's silence has spoken volumes. No official statements, no suspensions, no clear stance, just business as usual, when it clearly isn't. At this point, it feels like Clark could get taken down mid-air during a layup, and the league would still hesitate to act. And for someone like Larry Bird, who built his career on toughness, heart, and respect for the game, that inaction is deeply frustrating. Bird is no stranger to adversity. He played through injuries that would sideline most players, yet he always held the game and its integrity to the highest standard. So watching Clark take hit after hit with barely a whistle or warning from officials, that's more than concerning. It's unacceptable. What really seems to bother Bird isn't just the lack of protection, it's what it represents. He believes the league is sending the wrong message. Instead of rewarding skill and discipline, it feels like players who play hard and clean are being targeted, while others push the boundaries without consequences. According to Bird, that doesn't build a stronger league, it weakens it. And here's where things get even more serious. Bird thinks this lack of accountability is failing the next generation of fans and athletes. Instead of teaching them to master the fundamentals or respect the game, it's teaching them that aggression might be more effective than talent. Bird sees Clark as a generational talent, someone who plays with intelligence, precision, and grit. Despite everything thrown at her, she continues to rise above the noise. She's been booed, fouled hard, and targeted on and off the court, but every time she responds with composure, focus, and unbelievable performance. That's not luck, that's leadership. Clark's mental toughness hasn't gone unnoticed. While others are caught up in media narratives and social commentary, she's focused on delivering for her team and raising the profile of the league. At just 22, she's carrying a franchise, lifting ratings, and keeping calm under pressure that would rattle most veterans. Bird compares her resilience to his early days in the NBA when older players tested him constantly, but even then he didn't have the global spotlight Clark is under today. She's not just playing basketball, she's managing expectations, media scrutiny, and a league that's still figuring out how to support its brightest star. That's why Bird's admiration runs so deep. He sees Clark not just as a rising talent, but as a symbol of what professional basketball could become, if handled the right way. For Bird, this isn't just about protecting a single player, it's about protecting the soul of the game itself. And if the WNBA doesn't step up soon, it may be people like Bird who take the lead in creating an environment where talent is truly respected and allowed to thrive. Caitlin Clark isn't just another standout rookie, she's a rare talent, someone with the ability to not only transform a game, but elevate an entire league. Her presence is reshaping the way people see women's basketball, drawing in new fans and creating fresh conversations about what the sport can become. And that's exactly why Larry Bird has stepped up. He recognizes how rare it is for a player like Clark to come along. Athletes with her combination of skill, poise, and influence don't appear often, and when they do, you protect them, not just because they're great, but because they represent the future of the game. What's troubling Bird isn't just the physical play Clark is enduring, it's the short-sighted reaction from the league itself. He's watched executives and even fellow players act as if Clark is just another new face who will fade away. But Bird knows better. He's seen firsthand what happens when special talent gets the support it deserves. And he's also seen what happens when that support is missing. This isn't about a single player's success. It's about the long-term direction of the WNBA. The difference between nurturing a generational star and allowing them to be pushed aside could determine whether the league continues to grow or falls behind. That's why Bird is speaking out. He's not just advocating for Clark's safety, he's standing up for the future of women's basketball. He sees the league at a critical moment, a crossroads. One path leads to a game defined by skill, respect, and progress. The other, to a game dominated by unnecessary aggression and missed opportunities. In Bird's view, allowing rough play to go unchecked isn't just risky, it's a step backward. He believes that if players who rely on questionable tactics are allowed to dictate the tone, the league risks alienating fans and losing the very stars who bring attention to the sport. To some, Bird may sound like an old-school purist, but the truth is, he's someone who's lived through every side of the game. Player, coach, executive, and knows the value of building around greatness. He sees Caitlin Clark as more than a marketable name. To him, she represents a potential turning point, and that's not something he's willing to stay silent about. If the current system won't evolve to protect and promote players like Clark, Bird seems ready to build something that will. Whether that means forming a new team or reimagining how the sport should be structured, he's clearly not ruling it out. What makes this even more powerful is Bird's broader vision. He's not just defending Clark, he's challenging the entire league to rise to a higher standard. A place where true talent is nurtured, where hard work and excellence matter more than theatrics, where the game itself shines brighter than the headlines. And with his legacy of success, Bird isn't just talking, he could be the one to make it happen. He's built championship teams, led organizations, and changed the game before. Now he's suggesting it's time the league does the same, for Caitlin Clark and for the future of basketball. So is Larry Bird actually working behind the scenes to form a team built around Caitlin Clark? Officially, no such plan has been confirmed, but when someone with Bird's legacy, an NBA legend with 3 championship rings, starts publicly criticizing the league for how it's handled one of its biggest stars, it definitely gets people talking. Bird hasn't made any formal announcements, but his recent comments suggest he's not content with how things are going. And whether it's just speculation or something more, you can't help but wonder, could he be quietly laying the groundwork for something bold? Maybe even a new team, or an entirely new system that truly values and protects elite talent like Clark. Let's be clear, Caitlin Clark is not just a rookie. She's become the face of the league in record time, drawing in fans fans, sponsors, and national attention. But despite her impact, some incidents on the court, like overly physical plays and a lack of consistent protection, have raised serious concerns. And Bird seems to be one of the few major voices calling it out. If the WNBA doesn't take stronger steps to support its most promising players, someone else might. And Larry Bird, with his deep ties to Indiana and lifelong passion for the game, could very well be that someone. Whether it's launching a new franchise, championing a structural change, or simply inspiring a broader conversation, Bird is sending a message. The current approach is no longer enough. So the real question is, will the league take action before it's too late? Or will they risk watching one of the most talented and marketable athletes in WNBA history slip through their fingers? And hey, just imagine for a moment, what would a Larry Bird-backed team centered around Caitlin Clark even look like? Would it be based in Indiana, sponsored by Hy-Vee? Would it spark a whole new era of women's basketball? Let us know what you think. Drop your thoughts in the comments, whether it's your boldest predictions or your own take on what's next for Clark in the league. Because this story, it's just getting started, and whatever happens next could change the future of the sport.